live now?
We are.
Oh.
We have lit the candle, which means that we are coming together live and in person, some live right here in Copley Square and some joining us from all over the place. Welcome to Community Church of Boston. And we light this candle for unity, for strength in troubled times, and for those who, as that Episcopal bishop mentioned, are scared right now. We think about them, immigrants, LGBT folks, and we send out our solidarity and our but urgent hand of friendship and help. Gonna keep on walking forward. Keep on walking forward. Keep on walking forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna weave our lives with strong threads. Weave our lives, we're turning back, never turning back. Gonna reach across our borders, reach across our borders, reach across our borders, never turning back, never turning back. We're gonna keep on walking forward, keep on walking forward, keep on walking forward, never turning back, never turning back. Hi, folks. We open with one of several songs by Pat Humphreys and Sandy O that we're going to sing today. We are telling you at the outset that our speaker today, named James Kilgore, is down with a nasty flu, and we have rescheduled him, we hope, for March. So stay tuned for James Kilgore. We're really looking forward to hearing his message. And we have a polyglot of a varied program this morning that we don't even know what exactly it's going to be, but we know a few themes. And the first one is it's just my incredible pleasure to have with me Sue Kranz. One of my favorite friends on the planet. It was 28 years ago that Sue took a sabbatical from her teaching job and traveled around the world, and among one of her stops was a village that I recommended to her that's called El Higueral. And she spent a month there and endeared herself to everybody in that town, especially the women to whom she taught a few incredible recipes like mandelbrot and Jewish biscotti in a little village in El Salvador. Can you picture that? 25 more years went past, and Sue retired and ushered both of her parents, took care of them and ushered them into the next realm, and then was free to go back to El Higueral and has been there living for 2 years, and has started a preschool, equipped a preschool, trained 3 young women to teach preschool, and given them all the tools, and found funding for it for 3 years hence to run this preschool. In addition to that, an AA group that Sue started in that village. This is a saint in our midst, say I, and widely defined saints. You're all saints, except me.
No, you're the biggest saint of all, Dean.
You big saint. But it's just a joy to have Sue Kranz here with us, and we're going to sing a couple of songs because we have all this extra time to fill, and it's going to be very easy to fill because I want you to be thinking about a few things to talk about and ask about, and hopefully it'll be a conversation. The first is what just happened this last week. You know, we could spend the rest of the day and the rest of 4 years talking about that. And the second is maybe just an update on the church and a few things going on here. And we can intersperse that with some songs. We also have Calvin Airy, who recommended James Kilgore to us, and I hope Calvin will just chime in on the subject of what James is all about and will be talking about in March, which is prisons, and I'm especially fascinated and interested in Calvin's take on this, which is all about books and the changing power of books in the hands of people behind bars. So here's the song. If you know it, it's en español.
De colores.
And join us. F, right?
With a little introduction.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here we go. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajarillos que vienen de afuera. De colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Canta el gallo con su kiri, 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 kiri. La gallina con su cara, 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 cara. Los pollitos con su pío, 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 pío. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De de colores son los pajarillos que vienen de afuera. De colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you. I wanted to do something that we haven't done in a long time. Jason Leiden was our minister from 2004 to 2012. He wasn't our minister, he was our Congo director, because when we hired him, he was 22 years old, and his only thing on his resume was that he had been he just got out of 6 months in prison for protesting the School of the Americas in Georgia, and his story was so compelling that we hired him, and he had a really great run here, and he went, while he was here, he was the first divinity student to get into what was then, what was it called, the divinity school in Newton that closed, and then the Episcopal Divinity School was where he graduated from, and we ordained him, and as soon as he found out that he had a credential to be a true UU minister, he said, "Fuck this shit, I'm out of here," and got a real job because of sort of our finances and whatnot. But anyway, he used to read this, which is our statement of purpose at Community Church of Boston, and he would have us all read it together. We stopped having a program when COVID happened, and we sort of went online, but I want to just read this to you, and just to let you know what we're all about, and just to remind us why we're here and why we are in community together here. The Community Church of Boston is a free community of women and men united for the study and practice of universal religion, seeking to apply ethical ideals to individual life and the democratic and cooperative principle to all forms of social and economic life. There's a couple of observations to make about that. The first one is that Jason wanted to change it from women and men, and after one of this lunatic's declarations last week, that there are only two genders by proclamation, maybe we should change that part of it. I don't know. And the other one was something interesting, which is that we back there is our original charter from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts when we became what's called the Chapter 180, I believe that's the right number, association or corporation, and it has the same declaration, but it does not mention religion. And this one mentions universal religion, and I wonder what the reason is for the 1921 not mentioning that, but this one does. Anyway, it's just something I wanted to share with you, and we need community more than ever right now, and this is a place that we have to build that community, and we hope to do it. We just put up a sign in the window. It's a big banner. It says, "Immigrants and refugees welcome here." And I hope you all notice that, and notice that given what might be happening here, hopefully it's just bluster, but that will be an important sign to have in a window stating what we believe. So we're going to do another song and take it to the next step. Another one by Emma's Revolution, Pat Humphreys and Sandy Opatow, also known as Sandy O. And This is called Swimming to the Other Side. A little intro, yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, do, do, do. We are living neath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming this stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live together. We're all living to the other side. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. I am alone and I am searching, hungering for answers in my time. I am balanced at the brink of wisdom. I am impatient to receive a sign. I move forward with my senses open. Imperfection, it will be my crime. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living beneath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming this stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. On this journey through thoughts and feelings, minding intuition, my head and heart, I am gathering the tools together. I am preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me, band together, be my guide. In humility I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living in the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming this stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. When we get there, we'll discover all the gifts we've been given to share have been with us since life's beginning, and we never noticed they were there. We can balance at the brink of wisdom, never recognizing that we've arrived. Loving spirits will live together. We're all swimming to the other side. Here we go. We are living beneath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. Powerful.
Yeah. Do you have some water, Dean?
Somebody can bring some water. Mark, can you bring some water to?
Sip?
Please. Thank you. Oh, she was asking about me.
I have water.
Yes, sure. Some water for Dean. That'd be great. January, what is it? 26. January 20. No, 20. Yeah, 26. You're right. You're right. Eduardo Galeano, a book of entries for each day of the year. January 26th, the second founding of Bolivia. On this day in the year 2009, a plebiscite said yes to a new constitution proposed by President Evo Morales. Up to this day, Indians were not the sons and daughters of Bolivia, they were only its hired hands. In 1825, the first constitution bestowed citizenship on 3 or 4% of the population. The rest, indigenous people, women, the poor, the illiterate, were not invited to the party. For many foreign journalists, Bolivia is an ungovernable country, incompetent, incomprehensible, intractable, insane. They've got the wrong in. They should just admit that for them, Bolivia is invisible. And that should come as no surprise, for until today, Bolivia was blind to itself. Eduardo Galeano from Uruguay, whose writing I love both in English and in Spanish. And someday, if they'll have them, I will donate my library. It's a couple of boxes of Galeano books, both in English and Spanish, to Community Church. Except that we have way too many books already and are trying to get rid of books. But that's a powerful one to have with us. That set of books. He passed away about maybe 10 years ago, and so I wanted to maybe as introduction to the next part. Read to you something that Luis got a hold of in Chelsea. And this is called Notice or Aviso. No tienes que hablar con un agente de ICE sin una orden judicial. Si los agentes del ICE van a su casa o lugar de trabajo, solicite ver una orden firmada por un juez. Muchos intentarán utilizar documentación no calificada. No los dejes entrar sin la documentación adecuada, which means, notice, you do not have to speak to ICE without a judicial warrant. If ICE agents come to your home or workplace, ask to see a warrant signed by a judge. Many will try to use non-qualifying paperwork. Don't let them in without proper documentation. And who knows if that advice will be any good when you have a band of thugs that was just pardoned, and a lot of those thugs are law enforcement and fire and court system, and if that empowers vigilante ICE agents to do worse than this, which would be like just to knock doors down and come in and do sweeping, as I remember in 2006 and 2007 and 8 sweeps of entire apartment buildings and just ask for papers from people, or checkpoints on the New Hampshire Route 93. We don't know what's coming, but there's got to be some response that we have, and it's not easy because there's no warning. They just hit any place they'd like, and there is sort of like a beginning of a response network. Lawyers for Civil Rights, LCR, has a phone number to call. They're sort of setting up a shop, a hotline, just for people to report this kind of thing. My memory is about courthouses. There were often checkpoints at the entrances of courthouses at 9 a.m. on a weekday, and it was so horrendous. People coming in to pay a parking ticket or to apply for a restraining order, and eventually something between the city of Boston and surrounding cities and the ICE, or just the shame of that sort of a confrontation, made it stop happening. But for about a year, it was happening, and the Committee for Public Counsel sent out advice sheets for lawyers as to what to do in this instance. Whether you tell your client to stay home or not come near the courthouse, or you accompany the client up the stairs of the courthouse. Anyway, it's scary what's to come, and Richard Wolff, our favorite star of our YouTube channel, has said it'll never really happen because immigrants are the backbone of our economy, and many different industries are the reason that our economy is strong. Not only that, but capitalism loves a vulnerable, compliant, scared workforce. And that's what they have in undocumented workers. And there's plenty of work for them, and that's not about to stop with all these declarations that this lunatic made last week. So a couple more songs, and then maybe Calvin will have you say a few words about your friendship with James Kilgore. And by the way, I believe March 16th is the makeup date. No, that sounds like a test that we're putting him through. Is the replacement date for James? James, if you're out there listening, we hope for robust health for you back as soon as you can muster it up and be with us again. So shall we do a "Got a Light of Freedom"?
Yeah, and then.
And then yes.
So this is a really fun song. If you here in the church want to do the little dance from your seats or stand up, I'm going to stand up. Okay. So it's called "I Got the Light of Freedom," and my good friend Charlie King and his partner, who is no longer with us, Karen Brandau used to perform this, so I don't know who wrote it originally, but it goes like this. I got the light of freedom deep down in my heart. Oh, I've got the light of freedom deep down in my heart. And I say deep, deep, and it's a down, down, it's a deep down in my heart. And it's a deep, deep, it's a down, down, it's a deep down in my heart. And ain't that the light of freedom deep down in my heart? Yeah, ain't that the light of freedom deep down in my heart? And I say deep, deep, and it's a down, down, it's a deep down in my heart. Yes.
Say deep, deep,
and it's a down, down, it's a deep down in my heart. Oh, I've got the fire of justice deep down in my heart. Yeah, I've got the fire of justice deep down in my heart. And I say deep, deep, and it's a down, down, it's a deep down in my heart.
Deep down in my heart.
I say deep, deep, and it's a down, down, it's a deep down in my heart. Oh, I see a new day dawning deep down in my heart.
Oh, I see a new day dawning deep down in my heart.
And I say
deep, deep, and it's a down, down,
it's a
deep down in my heart. Deep down in my heart.
Deep, and it's a down, down, it's a
deep down in my heart.
Oh,
I love everybody. It's a deep down in my, deep down in my heart.
I love everybody, yeah,
deep down in my heart.
And I say
deep, deep,
and it's a down, down, it's a deep down in my heart. I say deep, deep, and it's a down, down, it's a deep down in my heart. Oh yeah, I got the light of freedom
deep down in my heart.
Yeah, now
I got the light of freedom deep down in my heart.
Come on, you guys.
And it's a deep, deep, and it's a down, down, it's a deep down in my heart.
It's a
deep, deep, and it's a down, down, it's a deep down in my heart. Oh yeah.
Hope you were dancing at home.
I'm really pleased that Calvin Airy made contact with David Jackson who's a guy that I've visited a couple of times back in the era of Carla Rabb. Some of you remember Carla of blessed memory, who really spearheaded a lot around our Members Behind Bars program. She got me visiting prisoners. We drove a couple of times out to, 3 times in fact, to what's it called, Sousa Baranowski near Gardner to visit David. And 3 times, only got in twice. Once they were in lockdown and wouldn't let us in. But that's sort of par for the course. I've been sent away from a prison for wearing jeans. What's that about? I guess I didn't read the dress code carefully enough. And when I finally did get in, I went to a Walmart nearby and bought a pair of khaki pants. They might be the one I'm wearing today. I don't know. And went in, and the woman behind me going through the metal detector, and I was talking to her. She'd driven 2 hours to see her boyfriend, and they wouldn't let her in because whatever she was wearing was too revealing. That sort of stuff is just sort of par for the course. And anyway, Calvin has a lot of experience with this, especially the more recent thing, which is just deep commitment to people behind bars and the mission of putting books in their hands to inspire them and to change lives, to change their own paths. And I just wanted Calvin to say a few words because he's the one who recommended James to have us speak, to have us get him to speak today. That's how we do things. If you have any ideas about speakers you would like us to look into, let us know, and we will start the search and make the invitation. So Cal, come on up. You like Cal or Calvin? Either way.
Or either way. Thanks, Dale. Well, I certainly hope James Kilgore recovers from this bout with the flu. You know, it's no fun. At least he doesn't have COVID. You know, he tested himself and it's negative. But, you know, I just want to say a few words about James and about his book. I spoke here on November 24th about changing lives with books, and you know, the thought behind that. Malcolm X in his autobiography said that most people don't realize that a person's whole life can be changed by just one book. You know, and that's true. I want to just tell you about one example. A week or so ago, I went over to the Cambridge Public Library, and Dwayne Betts was appearing over there as part of the Martin Luther King commemoration ceremonies. And at the age of 16, Dwayne was sentenced to 9 years in the Virginia State prison system for carjacking. He was put in solitary confinement because of his age. You know, they didn't want to put a young man like that into the general population. And he cried out, "Would somebody please send me a book?" And a book was slid down under his cell door. It was The Black Poets by Dudley Randall. And that book began a process of transformation in Dwayne's life. He became a poet. He's published 3 books of poetry. When he got out of prison, he went to college, went on to Yale, went to Yale Law School and became an attorney. And he started an organization called Freedom Reads, which installs 500 book libraries in cell blocks in prisons across the United States. Now, these are not libraries for the prison. They're in the cell blocks. Just to give you an example there, in 2 days last year, he went back to Virginia, the state that he'd done time in, and visited 2 prisons, one on a Wednesday, one on a Thursday. And they installed 13 of those 500 book libraries in the cell blocks in one of those prisons and 12 in the other. 25 of these libraries, each one with 500 books. And the reason they're in the cell blocks is so that the prisoners have easy access. You know, during COVID especially, a lot of prisons let their librarians go. You know, they weren't letting the prisoners use the libraries, and you know, they spend most of their time locked up in cells with nothing to read. You know, so this, you know, talk about giving back. That's really really an amazing organization he started. But when I was here in November, you know, I spoke about sending books to prisoners myself, and you know, I'm always on the lookout for impactful books, books that would accomplish that purpose that Malcolm X spoke about. And I became aware of James Kilgore's book, The Warehouse. It's a visual primer on mass incarceration. And you know, it's not a comic book. When I say visual, it's got James wrote the text, and his co-author Vic Liu did the visuals. And well, just to give you an example, James donated 50 copies of that book to the prison book program down in Quincy, which sends books into prisons across the United States. And one of the responses, like a book review that I got from a woman down in Virginia that's doing time, Shebri Dillon, she said, that book cracks like thunder when it lands on people. Now what a wayward word she has. I mean, you know, that book cracks like thunder. You know, and just the other day when I found out that James had the flu and wouldn't be able to appear today, I mentioned that last batch of books are all gone. You know, we've already sent them out to prisoners all over the country, and he said he'd send another batch. So that's the kind of a guy he is. And with that, I'll turn it back to Dean, and hopefully James will be able to appear in March and tell us more about the book.
Yeah, thanks, Calvin. This is the second suggestion that Calvin made for speakers. Last week's speaker, Patrick Parr, was wonderful, and I invite you to see his talk about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, the parallel trajectories. It was a really, really interesting talk that he gave. Let's do this song that's called "If I Give Your Name," another Sandy Opatow and Pat Humphries song.
I'll introduce it a little bit.
Okay.
This song is cracks like thunder when you hear it. It was written in 2001 after the Twin Towers went down, and it's from the perspective of undocumented workers that were working in the towers that, because of their status, were not able to come forward to receive the support and monetary and otherwise that other people were able to receive. So it has a little bit of Spanish. It talks about mi esposa, my wife, the first verse. The second is mi hermano, my brother. Actually, it's translated. And the third is mi hija, my daughter. And then the last is mi padre, my father. And I'm just so honored to sing it here now with Dean in light of what's happening in our country. Can we move this book so I can put this here? Great. Thanks, Dean. Do I need a guitar mic? Mi esposa, my wife, worked on the 80th floor. The company had hired illegals before. She got the job by word of mouth. That's the way in the north when you're from the south. They say 3,000, but the counting's not done. Mi esposa está muerta, 3,001. I have no papers, I have no rights. All my days end in sleepless nights, missing you silently. If I give your name, will they come after me? Mi hermano, my brother, the elevator man, a doctor in our country, but you take what you can. I saw the photos in Union Square, but I could not leave his picture there. They say 3,000, but that's not true. Mi hermano no volverá, 2002. I have no papers, I have no rights. All my days end in sleepless nights, missing you silently. If I give your name, will they come after me? Mi hija, my daughter, she went in early that day, 'cause she had always been that way. And her daughter asks, where did she go and how to tell her? I don't know. They say 3,000, but that can't be. Perdí a mi hija, 3,003. I have no papers, I have no rights. All my days end in sleepless nights, missing you silently. If I give your name, will they come after me? Mi padre, my father, I have no words. I tried to find you when I heard they gave some ashes to families, but I'll only have the ones I breathe. They say 3,000, but there's so many more desaparecidos, 3,004. I have no papers, I have no rights. All my days end in sleepless nights, missing you silently. If I give your name, will they come after me? Mi esposa, my wife, will they come after me? Mi hermano, mi brother, will they come after me?
Will they come after me?
Mi padre, mi father, if I give your name, will they come after me? People are scared to send their children to school.
There's this word that you can't translate. It's called a redada, which means it's basically a roundup. A roundup. Redada is like a red is like a net, a drag net, or it's like what you do to fish, and that's the word for what probably will be happening. So Sue and our friend Carol, also deeply involved with this village in El Salvador, and I went to see the Bob Dylan movie last night or yesterday afternoon. It's called A Complete Unknown, and it was a marvelous movie. Marvelous movie. He did Dylan better than Dylan does himself.
Timothy Chatelet.
Timothy Chatelet, the actor,
Something like that.
and I loved it because he has a beautiful voice and did these songs just so incredibly authentically and well. And my obstacle with Dylan was always not his songs, but what he sounds like. So this was, to me, just a really sweet
Upgrade.
rendition of these songs. Sorry, Bob, to say that, but it's okay. You'll be able to take it. And song after song. But about the trip there, what even inspired me more was walking through Coolidge Corner and seeing Susan Eskovitz. I don't know if you know her, but she's just this incredible force of activism and power. She's maybe in her early 80s, late 70s. I don't know the age, but on the forefront of every demo, of every action, of every standout. And she was by herself in the cold, in the middle of Coolidge Corner, with a sign about Gaza, and it inspired me. So in honor of that trip that we took, I hadn't gone to a movie in a decade, it almost seems like, and it felt just so good to do that. I want to do a parody of a Bob Dylan, to just think about this ridiculous proclamation from last week about wind power. How can we send global warming away and make it a thing of the past? How can we power our houses and cars without using oil or gas? How can we find an energy source that's clean, inexpensive, and vast? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times can a person look up and never see blades in the sky? And how many years can we drill, baby, drill, and watch Mother Earth slowly die? And how many more must we send off to war to secure our oil supply? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. And how many years can a beach house exist before it is under the sea? And how many times can a person insist we all have to change except me? How much catastrophe must we endure before we can finally agree that the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind? The answer is blowing in the wind, shining in the sun. The answer, my friend, is shining in the sun. The answer is shining in the sun. The great Paul Claflin from Western Massachusetts wrote that.
Another thing about the movie that really stuck out for us is the woman who played Joan Baez. Was just embodied her so deeply, and she too added a certain warmth to the timbre of the high soprano that I think you'll enjoy.
There were certain notes that she hit that it just evoked Joan
Totally.
like you absolutely wouldn't believe. And then there's the other part of the movie, which was about Pete, and that actor was remarkable. By the end of the movie, it was Pete, and it was just a sweet portrayal of the guy, and it deals slightly with that controversy that happened at Newport Folk Festival, where Dylan went on electric, and and there was a lot of protest from the organizers and from the crowd, and it was too loud, and
Distorted, too.
and distorted, and it deals with that very nicely. But I think the best part of the portrayal of Pete was, when I think of Pete, I think of him just completely participating in everything. I knew him on the Clearwater, where I spent time three summers in a row, and I knew him at People's Music Network, and he was in the kitchen cooking, or he was on the boat pulling the ropes with everybody else singing sea shanties. And in the movie, what's he doing? He's lifting folding chairs onto a truck after the festival is done. Pete, I just can't say enough. It's just this is such a great, powerful voice for the movement, and also just such a humble, part of what everybody else is doing. It was marvelous. So that's my tribute to that film, and to Susan Eskovitz, and to Pete, and to Joan.
And Woody Guthrie.
And Woody Guthrie, yeah, another just marvelous thing. Next Sunday, Jana Fröhlich, whose full name is Jana Maria Radowski-Fröhlich, comes here, and her talk is called "A Family Legacy: Compassion versus Moral Injury, Humanism versus Zionism." Reflections in songs, paintings, and recollections. And what I'll say about Jana is that I've just gotten to know her through mutual church singing kind of environments. She was the music director at First Parish in Jamaica Plain for a few years, and has written some wonderful songs, and that transformed into just very, very committed activism around Gaza and Palestine and Zionism. And it's going to be great to have her here. I will not be here. I will be in Puerto Rico for a very short visit with friends there. But she will be here with her partner named Joy Grimes, who's a violin player. So check out Jana Fröhlich next week. And now something totally different, an update about Community Church of Boston. I have somewhere back there a little pamphlet. It's basically two sides of an embossed or not embossed, plasticized. What's that called?
Laminated.
Laminated. Thank you. Document from the Ethical Society in New York, which I was not familiar with. The one in Manhattan. There's one in the lower Bronx where I've played before, but this one is in right by the Lincoln Center, and it's a beautiful building, and it had a list of all the amazing things that they do. It seems like they have events every single night, and Zoom conversations about everything from dialogue between Jews and Muslims to events of the day, and to group therapy and couples. Anyway, I say that because it's just this inspiration about what we could be. We do a lot of stuff, but if we were fully staffed and fully we're fully staffed with our staff, but not with our human beings that could be doing so many things around this beautiful resource, which is this building. And it makes me both dream and share with you finally the optimism of having a tenant on the first floor, which I think we can officially announce because the lease is signed by both parties. And you used to say that the ink is dry, but it's both like e-signatures, so that metaphor doesn't apply anymore. And we are now collecting the signatures of all the board members who will be part of a document that signs on to the lease that the board is in full agreement with this rental. And the restaurant is called All'Antico Vinaio, and they are an Italian sandwich shop. They're basically a bakery that's baking a bread called sciasciata. That's an Italian bread that is sciasciata is your knuckles, and it's tamped down with your knuckles, so it's a flat bread, and it's a long rectangle, and they cut the ends off, and they cut it horizontally like that, and they open it up, and the steam is coming out as fresh bread straight out of the oven, and you put in prepared Italian meats like prosciutto, mortadella, bologna, all these things, and then you put in prepared Italian cheeses, and then arugula and a topping, and you get a great sandwich. They also will be serving beer and wine from the Bastianich winery, which is the family that is very much behind this endeavor of expanding this Italian restaurant group. There's about 40 of them in Europe. In every big Italian city. They started in Florence, and there's maybe 6 of them in the city of Florence. Very popular with tourists, big lines out the door in the summertime especially. But the Bastianich, you might have heard of Lydia Bastianich. She's Italian grandma cooking host on PBS, and it's her 2 kids who are very active expanding this to the United States. There's 10 of them in the U.S., 6 of them in New York, and 2 in Las Vegas and 2 in Los Angeles, and we went through a long negotiation. It wasn't easy negotiation over the terms of the lease, but now it's all settled. And the next step is getting permits, and we're starting to get drawings of what their plan is, and we're commenting back and forth on the drawings and running them by our advisors, who are engineers, to approve the drawings. And finally, hopefully around early summer, if all goes as planned, there will be a new restaurant downstairs. And the great thing about it, that it's really a product that I'm really enthused about, trying to be part of promoting. It is capitalism, yes, but it's really good food, and hopefully will be really a great addition and upgrade to the sort of fast food line of stuff that's on this block of Copley Square. Not to denigrate what's next door, whose name will go without mention, or the other ones, but this will be just a cut above everything, I believe. And so that's the news about the church and the building, and that'll be really a wonderful thing. And then the next challenge is to make this a congregation that does not solely depend on first floor income, like 80% or 85%, like we always have in recent years. Well, recent years, that's like 40 years that's been an income source. A small one at first, and then a more significant one as Copley Square changed and became the sort of shishi upgrade place that it is now. The challenge is to turn this into a place that is really a powerful membership, that has a lot of people active, wanting to engage in a whole line of activist stuff that a community like this could be part of, and that this building could be a spearhead to promote good trouble in the city of Boston. And so that's the challenge. And there's lots of other little challenges, like what to do with this incredible wealth of archive material that we have on the 5th floor. The challenge which is coming to about of dealing with our 3rd floor Sacco and Vanzetti archives that will be going slowly across the street. They'll be growing legs and growing across the street to the Boston Public Library. They are starting that process a bunch of times, and we're going to transfer a lot of Bob Datilio's materials from the Sacco and Vanzetti case to the Boston Public Library. 27, which is the 100th anniversary of their execution. And we're looking for people. Jerry Kaplan is another staff member wonderful new member of this community. He joined after Bob Datilio passed. He was a good friend of Bob's, and he just retired. This is Jerry from Harvard Press, and is now 3 days a week volunteer archivist for that collection. And just a wonderful, just really intelligent and compassionate guy. I love having Jerry here 3 days a week. Thank you, Jerry. And then I won't hesitate to mention that we have a tenant as well. It's been here about 3 years now. They're called the History Project. They're on the 4th floor. And the History Project is a really very well organized and resourced archive of Boston's LGBT history, archiving, preserving, and celebrating that history. And the more there is threat to that community by an empowered vigilante gang of thugs, the more we will cry out in solidarity. So that's each floor. We went all the way up, didn't we? We also have the auditorium, which has a new sign: immigrants and refugees welcome here. And it has all kinds of artwork and a collection of keffiyehs and radical artwork from Nicaragua from the 80s and from native people. And hooray for Leonard Peltier.
Yeah.
Leonard, we love you, and we remember when Carol Goki was here. She was director of the Leonard Peltier Defense Committee, and she spoke about about like 2.5 years ago, and she was joined by Jean Roach, who was a witness to that standout that happened at Wounded Knee. And we hope to have them again with the celebration for Leonard's not quite freedom. He's on home confinement, but he's free, half free. And it's a good step. So you have to celebrate whatever good news there is.
Absolutely.
Before singing some more, let's open the microphone to anyone who would like to share or who would like to read something. We have Susan with us. Susan, here's the microphone. And maybe if you'll just kind of face Amar so that the camera can see you.
She can also come in.
Susan McLucas.
So I expect that you guys did this last week too, but I just want to remember Joan Livingston, who passed away recently, and she was such a fighter, such a researcher, and understood the powers that be and what we're up against, and it was just such a joy to be in the movement for truth and justice with her, and I'm so sorry she's no longer with us.
Thanks, Susan. We lit a candle for Joan last Sunday, and we remember Joan with this candle we have here. I was going to print out a 11 by 17 photo of Joan that I posted on the Community Church Facebook page and on my own page, and it'll be here as well. We are remembering her on March 1st, which is her birthday, and we'll get a chance to really have a celebration and remembrance of Joan Livingston. Joan Livingston, presente!
Hey. Presente!
Is there anyone else online who would like to have a word? This is your chance.
Hello. Whoa. Can you hear me? Ooh.
Yes, go ahead. You
Okay.
have Who is this, by the way? Hello.
This is Lynn, Mystic Healer from Oregon. And I wrote a bunch in the chat today. I want to make sure people see it, record it, find out, and work together on what I've been guided to help shift all churches and get the Vatican nation and all churches to get with the World Health Organization, United Nations, and NATO to unite all militaries now. Stand down and clean up your mess. All the systems, sites, products, programs, and projects of militarism and drug wars have to be shifted and cleaned up. Thank you. Amen.
Amen. Right back at you, Lynn. What city in Oregon are you joining us from?
She may be already gone.
Oh, already gone. Thank you for joining us from across the continent. Anyone else online wants to say hello? Okay. How about a reading from Rifat Alarir? A bomb fell on Rifat's house. He was targeted because he was a English professor, outspoken English professor whose weapons were his words and the influence that he had on his students. And he and many members of his family were killed in Gaza early on in this horrible massacre that's going on. This book came a couple of days ago, and I haven't gotten a chance to look at it carefully. It's called If I Must Die by Rifat Alarir. And I'm just going to find one and read it for you. Just randomly open the page. This one is called Over the Wall. There, points Grandma. She had a tent that was a home. She had a goat and a camel. She had a rake and a fork and a trowel. She had a machete and a watering can. She had a grove and 200 plants. She had a child and another one and another one. There, she insists, I could not see because of the wall. I could not hear because of the noise. I could not smell because of the powder. But I can always tell I am sure of Grandma, who always was and is still and will always be. She smells like soil and smiles like soil and blinks like soil when touched by rain. She has a house that is a tent. She has a key and a memory. She has a hope and 200 offspring. Grandma is here, but lives there. Over there. That's May 15th, 2012. Maybe there's somebody else who wants to select a page and read from Rifat Alarir, or some other poem. But in the meantime, let's sing Let Justice Roll Down. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Is it in here? Will you find it for me? And maybe you'd like to read it for us, Susan? Or someone else, or I will read it. Ah.
Letra.
So we'll start with ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, there is no freedom. The wise man said, let justice roll down, roll down. When the poor cry out for shelter and bread, let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we will make a new way. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Hatred will never drive out hate. Let love roll down, roll down. Remember, our hearts can make us great. Let love roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we will make a new way. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. When fists rise up to strike a blow, let songs roll down, roll down. May the poets remind us of what we know. Let songs roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we will make a new way. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Threatens our daughters and sons. Let songs roll down, roll down. May our voices ring out above the guns. Let peace roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we will make a new way. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. We will make a new way. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Ooh. Step by step and one by one, let justice roll down, roll down. They can kill the prophet, but the dream lives on. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we will make a new way. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Let justice roll down, roll down. Let justice roll down, roll down. Let justice roll down, roll down. Let justice roll down like a mighty, mighty stream. Yes.
Aileen Vance with the words from Martin Luther King.
Where's the handheld mic?
Right here, Dean.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
So this is Rafit Rifat al-Arir. And you see a nice drawing of a kite beside the poem here. If I must die, let it be a tale. If I must die, you must live to tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings, make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite you made flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope, let it be a tale.
Thank you, Susan. Rifat al-Arir. Another announcement. January 31st is a Friday. It's next Friday. And we will have a guest online speaker named Muhammad Marandi. He will be joining us from Iran, Tehran, Iran, where he's a professor of, let's see if I remember, Orientalism and something else. But he's become quite a voice online about all things Iran and everything else that revolves around Iran in the Middle East. It will be really great to receive Mohammed Marandi. He will be joining us at 11 a.m. The reason is that it's like 5 p.m. in Tehran at that time, or 6. I don't know exactly the time zone, but that's why we'll do him at 11 a.m. Wonder if there's anybody here who would like to share anything else. We have John here and Susan and Olga. Welcome, Olga. And last final parting words before Luis Guzman serves a beautiful lunch, and this time it's a hot chicken soup with wonderful toasted bread from a nearby flour bakery. I've just made this wonderful find, which is that Flour Bakery makes, there's a bunch of them around, and they make sandwiches, and they cut the ends off too, and they sell you the ends in bags for $3 for a big bag of really delicious bread ends, and we buy them and we toast them here for soup, and put a little butter on them. It's really, really a delicious addition to every hot soup for a cold day. So that's on its way from our beloved Luis Guzman. And just to take this moment to appreciate the rest of our staff. And I'll start with TJ, who hasn't been with us too much. He's kind of on layoff. Occasionally he comes in to do some special job, but his name is Thurman Judge, and he's kind of our handyman with a truck for lots of jobs that require those two essential things. And then there's Luis Guzman, who's been with us for almost 30 years, and he's our cook and our janitor, and comes in twice a week to do cleaning, and once a week to do cooking and preparing this auditorium for us. There's Xinli Zhu, I think it's Xinli Zhu, who's been for 20 years now our accountant bookkeeper. He was able to move to California and still be, in this new age of everything electronic, still be our accountant and bookkeeper. He has his nephew who comes in once every couple of weeks to take all the offerings that we have still in the form of that ancient thing called cash and paper checks and deposit them and pay other bills that need to be done on paper. But Zinli Zhu is just a marvelous help who can keep track of everything, all our finances, and give us reports and tell us exactly where we stand, and send us four of our real estate tax bills that we're trying to get abated from the city of Boston in 5 minutes, and they're there in your email box. So Zinli Zhu. Then there is Amar Ahmad. Amar does everything on our online life, our live stream, our YouTube channel. That if you haven't been there lately, you should go there. It has over 60,000 subscribers, and thanks to Amar, again, we've been able to book a number of really remarkable speakers who garner enormous attention to our YouTube channel. Just before they closed it down, Amar also opened a TikTok channel, which is back up, and we're hoping the best for that one as well. Just trying to slowly be dragged out of the Bronze Age of community church into the modern era. Imagine that. Thank you, Amar. Crystal Rollins Jackson is our publications and office manager, and you see the graphics that she produces for us every week on our website. Every talk has its own really interesting graphic. There's a lot of her artwork around the auditorium, like Remember Their Names, about the Black Lives Matter movement that's over in the corner, like a lot of different posters that go out on our sandwich boards and don't last long. The reason is that Copley Square is brutal for weather. The wind blows, the rain comes down, and all kinds of vandals come by. And there was a beautiful piece of artwork that Crystal did that said, "More love, let Gaza live," and it had the colors of the Palestinian flag. And luckily she did it on paper that she tapes together and makes a huge sandwich board size message. And that one on paper has been ripped out about 4 times, and she makes another one. We put it out, and the next thing we do is make it out of this stuff that's called plastic cardboard, which is basically cardboard laminated with plastic on the inside that makes it look like cardboard, but it's plastic, and that lasts a little bit longer. But those get brutalized by the wind and the rain as well. Still, we have 2 sandwich boards out there that are viewed, hopefully by some 50,000 people that walk by there every day. It's a remarkable location that we have. Well, the soup just came down, and it smells really good in this auditorium.
Let's finish with
So
Love Call Me Home.
we're going to finish out, and thank you for joining us. I'll also mention that we have a mailing list and a collection basket out by the food. We need your help to make this place keep going and keep all those staff members nourished and interested in continuing their great work with us at Community Church of Boston. Sue?
And Dean will not promote and give us an update, but he is right toward the end of making a new recording. So check that out.
Sue, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's such a pleasure.
Yeah, and she's here for a short respite. She came into the coldest weather.
This is not a respite.
for an anti-respite, but to see family and friends, and so it's great to have you here.
Thank you so much,
on
Dean.
this day, Sue. Sue Kranz, everybody.
Love Call Me Home is a song by Peggy Seeger, and it has a part for all of you to respond. There's one line that I'll sing and then a line that keeps repeating. And Susan Michalukas shared a reading that put love at the heart, you know, and Martin Luther King, hate can never drive out hate, from the song, Love Can Only Do That. And I love a Rumi poem. Rumi's a poet from 14th century. And he says, "It is not for you to search for love, but to remove the barriers that you hold to it." And I think in song and in community, it has a way of melting away some of those barriers. And, you know, our anger and our hate about what's going on right now hopefully will not do more to add to covering up our hearts, but let us inform our actions with love and compassion. So, Love Call Me Home by Peggy Seeger. When the waters are deep, friends carry me over, and when I cry in my sleep, love call me home. Time ferry me down the river, friends carry me safely over. Life tend me on my journey, love call me home. And when the waters are deep, friends carry me over, and when I'm losing my hold, love call me home. And time ferry me down the river, friends carry me safely over. Life tend me on my journey, love call me home. And when the waters are cold, friends carry me over. Open your arms and take me in, love call me home. And time ferry me down the river, and friends carry me safely over. Life tend me on my journey, love call me home. Take the gift that I bring, friends carry me over, for deep within me life is singing, love call me home. And time ferry me down the river, friends carry me safely over. Life tend me on my journey, love call me home. And life, it offers a chance, friends carry me over, for time can stop or dance forever. Love carry me home, and time ferry me down the river, and friends carry me safely over. Life tend me on my journey, love call me home, love call me home. Peggy Seeger.
Peggy Seeger. Thanks, Sue. You could reach me because I didn't have like a hat that was like 2 feet. I got a real kiss from Sue Kranz. Did you love that hat? And on that, we bid you goodbye. We also want to point out a couple things coming up. Dr. Kelly Carter Jackson is professor of Africana Studies and chair of the Africana Studies Department at Wellesley College. And her book that she will talk about is called We Refuse, A Forceful History of Black Resistance. She joins us on February 9th. February 16th, it's booked, but here it's to be announced. I'm trying to remember what it is. But anyway, I'll go on to February 23rd. Michael Burroway is joining us from UC Berkeley. Professor Emeritus at UC Berkeley, sociologist, studies class and race in Africa, Soviet and post-Soviet countries, as well as in the United States. And his topic, about which he wrote a book, is called W.B. Du Bois and the Question of Palestine. Du Bois, whose 1959 address at Community Church you can hear on our YouTube channel. Wow. One more, March 2nd, Louis Randa. Our beloved Louis, who won our our Sacco and Vanzetti Award in 2023, along with 4 people who he calls the chaplains, Peace Savvy chaplains, Louis and Meg Randa, and 2 others. And he will talk about native land reparation, what you can do, and it's about putting a clause in your will that 1% of the sale of your property will go to the native people that or the tribe that once inhabited the place wherever you are. And I think it's a good idea, and I'm talking to my wife about doing that and adding that document to our will. So a few things for you, and lots more upcoming. We remember Mark Solomon and Mark's niece, with whom I'm working on a project, a benefit for a Gaza circus school. Does that sound amazing or what? Palestine project. Don't forget that this Wednesday, if you haven't received notice of it, there's an online event that lots of us are going to watch. It is, come on, brain fart, brain fart, brain fart.
It's going to be really good.
I'm gonna strike that. It's and it's online. The book is called Being Jewish After October 7th, and remind me of his name. He's a very prominent voice that was once a very Zionist voice that came around.
Being Jewish after
No.
October 7th.
There's a lot of names to remember. The older you get, the more things you have to remember.
Wow. Rebecca Coburn?
No. Come on, Dean. We'll remember his name before we adjourn. And if not, we'll...
That's the name of the book, Dean?
That's the approximate name of the book. And he's having a book release online, a conversation it's sponsored by Jewish Currents, the magazine out of New York. And come on.
Okay, I'm putting in book now. Let's see. I put Nook in. Let's put in book.
Almost. Good guess. We will have a quiet moment while we...
Joshua Cohen?
No.
Okay, now I'm putting in book.
If you're interested, it's Wednesday, January 29th at 7 p.m. online. You have to sign up to join, and they ask you for a donation, but it can be free.
Elliot
to
Cosgrove?
Jewish Currents.
I'm being Jewish in the shadow of. His name is Rabbi Elliot. It's not a rabbi.
No, he's not a rabbi. We'll send you notice,
Yeah,
yes,
there
yes.
you go.
Keep, looking at my Facebook page, the announcement about that event will be there. Okay, thank you, everybody, and thanks for coming in person, and we'll see you again soon for Jana Froelich next Sunday. And thank you, Sue Kranz. Oh, yeah. Meeting at the building is over.
Recording
And
stopped.
out. Recording stopped.
You sure that's the name of the book? Because I
It's
looked it
not
up.
the exact name of the book, but
I
his
put
name,
book, being
his name
Jewish,
is
and I
about
put-
to come to me just as we go off.
Oh, let's see.